You know, whenever we look at Egypt, we almost always just think of pharaohs, pyramids, and, I don't know, ancient curses. But the desert actually hides a much darker truth. See, the sand behaves exactly like an ocean. And just like the sea, it can literally swallow an entire civilization whole. Case in point, archaeologists just announced a discovery that is completely rewriting the timeline of the ancient world. Deep within the remote Dakhla Oasis, buried under literally miles of brutal, shifting dunes, they didn't just find some broken ruins or a few scattered pillars. No, they walked straight into a completely intact 1,600-year-old planned metropolis that is just frozen in time. We're talking a massive city grid here. Broad avenues, fortified strongholds, and everyday homes that look like the residents just stepped out a few minutes ago. It's truly unbelievable. It's essentially a ghost city built by a forgotten empire, and it raises a pretty terrifying riddle. I mean, who built a massive, wealthy metropolis in the middle of a brutal, empty desert? And more importantly, why did thousands of citizens suddenly vanish into thin air? Uncovering secrets like this really reminds us just how much of human history is still buried out there in the dark, just waiting to be found. If you love exploring these forgotten worlds as much as we do, and you want to be the first to know when history gets rewritten, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe right now. Your support is honestly the only reason we can keep digging up these incredible lost worlds together. Part 1. Ain Al-Sabil, frozen in the sand. All right, let's step inside the city walls. So this newly uncovered metropolis dates all the way back to the 4th century. This was a time when the pharaohs were long gone, right? And Egypt had basically become the ultimate economic engine, the breadbasket for the Eastern Roman or Byzantine Empire. But what makes this site so mind-blowing isn't just its age, it's how it survived. Think about it. If this city had been built out of mudbrick in, say, wet European soil, it would have dissolved into sludge centuries ago. But instead, the hyper-arid, bone-dry desert sand acted like this flawless, prehistoric vacuum seal, keeping absolutely everything perfectly preserved. As you walk through the streets, you quickly realize this wasn't some chaotic, random border town. Not at all. It was engineered with absolute geometric precision. You have these broad north-south thoroughfares cutting perfectly into east-west side streets, opening up into these beautiful public squares and courtyards. And the empire definitely didn't build this out of kindness. This oasis was a high-stakes, heavily secured trade highway. Its whole purpose was to safeguard imperial grain and wealth from aggressive, nomadic desert raiders. To defend it, they wrapped the entire city in these massive, thick fortress walls, guarded by 2 towering stone watchtowers. But honestly, the real magic happens when you step inside the actual houses. Archaeologists found spacious reception halls, completely intact vaulted ceilings, and fully functional kitchens. They even found bread-baking ovens and heavy stone tools used for grinding grain. But here's where it gets even crazier. They actually dug up nearly 200 pieces of ostraca. Now, if you're wondering what that is, ostraca are essentially broken pottery fragments that ancient citizens used as everyday notepaper. They're written in this really sharp Greek and Coptic cursive, and honestly, reading them feels a lot like scrolling through someone's private text messages. We're talking tax receipts, strict legal contracts, business trade logs. They even found raw, personal letters detailing the daily gossip of a society that was alive 16 centuries ago. It's just wild. Part 2, the Underground Revolution, tracing a dangerous secret. See, the deepest mystery of this city is actually written right into its walls, pointing to a really dangerous religious shift. In the oldest residential sector, archaeologists uncovered this structure known as the House of Tabibos. Now, during the early 4th century, practicing Christianity was a capital offense across the Roman Empire, punishable by execution. So this building wasn't just a home, it was a secret, illegal domestic house church. You're literally looking at a safe house where early believers met in total darkness, hiding from the emperor's soldiers. But then, seemingly overnight, everything flipped. The timeline shifted completely. This specific archaeological layer represents the exact moment the empire surrendered, embraced the new faith, and flooded the region with imperial funding. In the very same city layers, the excavation team hit a literal jackpot. They found a rare cache of brilliant imperial gold coins and bronze currency stamped with Christian symbols. They even bear the unmistakable profile of Byzantine Emperor Constantius II. The transformation in the city was instant and explosive. Right at the head of the main avenues, looking directly over the public squares, the community built this massive, monumental basilica-style cathedral. So within just a few decades, these citizens went from hiding in a terrified secret room to constructing a giant monument that absolutely dominated the entire desert skyline. And we even know the names of the people who ran it, like this highly influential church deacon named Tissus, whose beautiful, completely intact estate was found just down the street. Part 3, the sudden silence. A haunting riddle. All of this leaves us with a massive historical question, right? The gold coins, the legal contracts, everything points to a metropolis at its absolute peak of wealth, power, and security. And then, without warning, the writing completely stops. The ovens go cold. The citizens just pack up their belongings and disappear, leaving an empty shell for the dunes to swallow. So what happened? Did changing trade routes force a sudden mass migration? Or did the devastating, invisible sweep of the Justinian plague turn this thriving oasis into a silent tomb overnight? Ain Al-Sabil is a powerful reminder that no matter how great our cities are or how permanent our achievements might seem, we are all just visiting the surface of time. Eventually, the sand comes for everything. So what really wiped Ain Al-Sabil off the map? Well, we may never know for sure. But here's the thing. This isn't the only ancient empire that vanished without a trace. If you want to see what happened when a legendary Roman legion marched into the fog and literally vanished from the face of the earth, you really want to check out this next mystery right here.